Alright everybody, I think on this saw I'm going to use a Proline K10 HD carburetor kit, and this is a Walbro. It's a Walbro HD carburetor. Alright, but I'll show you how to do a kit on one real quick. This thing does have the limiter caps. I'm probably not going to pull them out unless I see something in there that indicates that they need to be pulled. Basically, this side right here is your fuel inlet. You're going to have your impulse right here. There's a fuel pump in the diaphragm. Then I think, if I remember correctly, on this side I want to say, there will be a metering lever. But let's take a look real quick. One thing I am going to say, don't over tighten your carburetor screws unless you want to break one off or strip one out and then have to replace about $120 carburetor, at least where I live. For a good Walbro, that would be approximately what you'd be dealing with there. Alright, I'm going to pry a little bit on this, but I'm not going to pry very hard. So let me find a spot. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of loving. And of course it doesn't want to come off, so we'll go with the razor blade next. So what I'm going to do, slip that under the edge just a little bit. Get it kind of in the light where I can see, maybe. There it went. Like I said, this side right here is the metering side. That felt a little bit stuck. That actually looks pretty decent. We'll see here in a minute, but it doesn't seem to be crackling. All right, so what I'm kind of seeing there, that metering lever is always pretty much level, if you can see, with the conduit or the carburetor body. So right through here, you can take a straight edge and get a good idea on that. All right, that one came off nice and easy. Okay, so what I was getting at there, I'm going to hit a light and I'm going to try not to blind anybody, but all right, do you see that screen right there? The bottom of this opening right here. That's actually clean. It doesn't look bad at all. So the next thing we're going to look at, these white ones don't tend to go bad very often, but still very pliable, very clean. I'm still going to kit it. I'm going to replace that, but what we're looking for is problems. Here's about the only problem I'm really seeing, is that the metering diaphragm was pretty stuck. All right, see if you can hear this. You shouldn't be able to hear that. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but you should never be able to hear your metering diaphragm whenever you're like moving it around. It shouldn't sound like kind of a potato chip or a piece of potato chip bag or anything like that. It should be quiet and smooth. All right, so what I am going to do, I'm probably looking at it. I'm just going to replace this metering. I'll do the lever this time. I will do the lever. I was just going to do the needle, but I don't really see a reason not to. I don't see a reason to pull a Welch plug or anything. We'll kind of go from there. Now, carburetor kits don't really take all that long. Okay, we got... I think you probably already know this, maybe, maybe not. Gasket goes down first. So I'll have that right over here. That right there. I'll probably even replace that screen here in just a minute. All right, so the way I tend to do this, I'm going to back this screw out a ways, but not all the way out. I'm then going to kind of grab everything and let it slide out sideways. Maybe, maybe not. There it went. There's a little bit of oil on it, but it doesn't look bad actually. Now personally, I prefer a brake cleaner rather than like carb cleaner anymore. Carb cleaner tends to melt older rubbers and check valves and stuff in the carburetors. There's the old screen right there. Now, brake cleaner, believe it or not, actually is a pretty harsh solvent, but it still doesn't melt like gaskets and rubber and stuff like that. Sorry if you can hear my dogs. They like to say hi to the neighbors anytime they can. All right. All right, so I didn't actually shove that all the way in. I shoved it back. Let me see, set this down. Sometimes I'll just use a screw. I'll clean the end of it off really nice. Right by this hole right here, there's another hole right here in the side. I went just past the edge of that hole with the screen. There's another one that goes pretty much from right here. And I think, no, I'd have to check where that one goes, but there is a hole right here as well. I think it ties in with your fuel inlet. Okay. So now we have the screen installed again. I'm cleaning a little bit of the dried sawdust caked powder out of here. I'm not going to go hardcore with that because everything's sealed up now. It shouldn't become an issue again. I just don't want something loose that can fall free and go back into the engine that I just got done overhauling. That's why we clean this stuff up. That's why we try to improve it and take it back to basically brand new. Okay, so on this right here, this whole side right here, this whole chamber ties into your impulse line. So that's basically a form of your fuel pump. It is your fuel pump. So what I'm going to do here, the reason I'm bringing that up, your gasket has two holes in it. There's a dimple here and a dimple here. And you have to have this big opening lined up with your fuel pump side. Then you're going to take and line your tab up and boom, that's the orientation of your diaphragm, your gasket, pretty much everything right there. Now also, your fuel line goes the same direction as your impulse line. So whenever we take this, we're going to line it up, line it up. Everything is flat, everything's tidy again. Like I said, carburetor kits don't take you that long normally once you've done a few of them. All right. I think I did have a bar wrench. Yep, I have right here. On this one, that's pretty much it. I don't need any more. I don't want to tighten it down enough to where I'm actually damaging the carburetor. All right, next thing on my agenda. We're done with that gasket. We're done with that diaphragm and that one. The only thing that I will need out of that old kit is that spring right there. Now this can be a bit of a chore for people to get in there. I'm going to see if I can do this on camera and actually show you. I might even turn some light on for myself real quick. I hope that's not too much glare. All right. So what I'm going to do, take this dowel pin, go through there. And I try to get it halfway adjusted. All right. That's pretty much it. I hope I got all that on camera for you. All right. So my spring, I'm looking at underneath the metering lever. The spring is in the dimple. Screw is tight. Metering lever can move up and down. Now here's a trick. You remember how I said the metering lever lines up with the body of the carburetor? I'm not trying to cut my grease rag or anything there, if you could actually see that. Take and lay it flat, and I'm not scraping, but you can see how the metering lever moves? That's too much. I'm going to reach in here with a screwdriver, and I'm going to hold that side of the metering lever down, and I'm pushing down with my thumb. Now I wasn't going super hard. Again, I'm not wanting to deform everything. Okay, now from where I can see, I don't know if you can. Whenever I do that, the metering lever is getting caught on that razor blade by half the width of the metering lever. So I'm going to hold it again, and again I'm just pressing down gently. I'm actually hoping that I went a little bit too far now so I can actually All right, that's actually it. I got it on the second or third try. You just have to ease it back in there, keep going. All right, as I previously stated. So the gasket goes down first, and then your diaphragm. Now what I wanted to show you, listen. Now listen to this one. This one is a lot less, I don't want to call it sticky, but dry, kind of like a dry leaf almost, where there's just that little bit of crackle to it. You don't really want that. All right. Now, this opening right here goes opposite your fuel line and your impulse. Your impulse and your fuel line go toward the body of the engine. This opening right here goes away from the body of the engine. Make sure, yeah, nothing moved. All right. I'll hit you back up later whenever I can put the carburetor back on the saw.